I've said it and I'll repeat it again. Those who are coming to this administration thinking that it's an avenue for making a lot of money are going to be disappointed. They better go to the private sector. That is where people make money, not in government.
President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo on September 14th was also reported to have warned chief executive officers and board chairmen of state-owned enterprises that he would not hesitate to sack them if they violate the rules governing their work. He said, quote, "I want to reiterate to you all that I'm not ready to shield anyone who commits any infraction in the discharge of his or her duty. I will not protect anyone, and I will not hesitate to sack the person once the process finds him or her culpable." In November 2017, Director General of the National Lotteries Authority, Mr. Osei Ameyao, awarded 11 contracts to a company owned by his sister-in-law, Rama Hassan. This was faulted as a clear case of conflict of interest. But Mr. Kofi Osei Ameyao, the Director General of the National Lotteries Authority, justified his actions by insisting that his sister-in-law could not be prevented from doing business with the NLA because of his position.
You know, I heard about the distance for Christmas. I applied for it. I went through all the process and I was given. So I gave them my prices. I went around the city, looked for warehouses, got them my prices, and then some other people did, and then there's nothing showing that because I'm Rama or I'm this, and I got the contractor instead. To me, to the best of my knowledge, that was it.
Now, the Osei Ameyao-led NLA has been cited for allegedly inflating the prices of point-of-sale devices procured for use in the lottery business by more than $10 million. After his appointment in early 2017, the Director General, together with the board, decided to expand the operations of the NLA and create jobs by increasing the number of people selling lotteries. A decision was taken to procure additional point-of-sale devices to realize these goals. According to documents available to Joynews, the board agreed to procure an additional 10,000 POS terminals. A Chinese POS terminal distributor, Nesgo N5, was identified as a possible candidate for the purpose of achieving the objectives of the NLA. Subsequently, the authorities signed an MOU with the Chinese manufacturers of the Nesgo N5 POS terminal on October 25, 2017. The commercial manager of the Chinese company, Claude Tan, made a presentation on the product to the board of the NLA on 17 April 2018. It was decided after this presentation that a delegation from the NLA should visit the company in China for the purposes of conducting due diligence and assessing the capacity of the company to produce the devices to specification. The delegation arrived in China on Monday, 25 June 2018 and met with officials of the Shenzhen Zhengguodu Technology Limited, the manufacturers of Nesgo N5, the POS terminal the NLA was interested in. It was a 7-member delegation. The Director General himself could not go because of a presidential ban on travels by government officials. The team returned to Ghana and submitted a report stating, among others, that the Nesgo N5 had never been used for lottery anywhere in the world. Barely 3 months after the team arrived in Ghana, Mr. Osei Ameyao wrote a letter to the Public Procurement Authority (PPA) on 25 October 2018 asking permission to use single-source procurement method to procure 30,000 Nesgo N5 smart point-of-sale terminals for the NLA. He wanted the endorsement of the PPA to use the narrow window of single sourcing to choose Chinese firm Shenzhen Zingodu Technology Limited through the appointed agent in Ghana, Techstart Africa Limited, to supply the items. The Public Procurement Act 663, as amended in Section 40, lays out 6 conditions under which sole sourcing can be done with the approval of the board of the PPA. The Council Chair of the Institute of Procurement and Supply, Basil Ahiable, explains.
There are very clear guidelines as to what you need to be in, or the conditions that would precipitate a single source. Under Section 40, the conditions that would require single source. 1, when the item is a proprietary item, we want to buy this equipment and it is only manufactured by company A. There is no way you can go competition on this. So in doing so, you need to justify that this item cannot be found anywhere apart from this contractor, which will give rise to that. When there is urgency, and that is the most abuse, act of God. A bridge can be washed away today. Would you want to wait to go through a tendering process to get it fixed? No. So quickly, you have to organize your engineers, and those ones you write to PPA for approval. If it is justified, they will give for you to. You don't even start, or you don't, there are times you may, depending on the severity of it, you may want to even kickstart and do it alongside. If in this world everybody knows what agency is and what an act of God is. So that also clears it. The D under Section 40, where you have procured some items before and for whatever reasons you need additional supplies. I just bought these chairs through a tender, put it that way, and the price from evaluation was good. I needed additional supplies in the shortest possible time. Same chair, same specification. I mean, common sense will tell you that, look, you just went through all this hell, so why don't you call? But in doing so, don't make sure your current order is not more than what you.
What previously?
That is where you have others also faulting. So if you want to reorder, you do that. Next, if you want to standardize some equipment, you may have only Nissan cars in your pool. You may have contract with Japan Motors, and to you it's been beneficial. Response times and whatever has been very good, and the car has served you well. You can make that justification to PPA to allow you to buy same Nissan. But this time, we also know that there are other suppliers of some of these vehicles. After your evaluation, if their after sales are good, you have every right to want to even go that way to buy, to replenish your fleet. That is one. The next that we can talk about is that there are institutions and organizations that will want to enter into research with other suppliers and contracts and to develop a product. If you decided that I wanted to do a research with company A abroad or locally, you don't go international competitive or national competitive. Straight away, you can make that justification, give the reason why you want to undergo this development and research, and I think it will qualify for sole sourcing. Last but not the least, national security. Very critical. In all this, we expect that issues of national security have some sort of wall around them. For example, we want to buy anti-hijacking equipment for our airport. Do we go putting it in the papers? You can't do that. What you have to do, and in that case, you have the professionals, your procurement professionals who go behind to negotiate, do the searches, compare and negotiate with you to actually come to a very good price for you to buy. So these conditions would give you the opportunity to go sole sourcing.
None of the conditions detailed in the law appears to be present in the procurement of the posts. But NLA chose the single source Schengen Technology Limited to supply the point-of-sale terminals at a cost of $878 per device. The equivalent of this amount was 4,222 Ghana cedis, 22 pesos. The total cost of the 30,000 terminals, Mr. Oseameyao stated, was $26,340,000 US. Responding to Mr. Oseameyao's October 25 letter, the PPA, in a letter dated 2nd November 2018, asked the NLA to negotiate a 5% reduction price. Mr. Oseameyao, in another letter dated November 12, 2018, informed the PPA that they had negotiated a 2% reduction in the cost of the terminals. That would reduce the price of a device to $860, representing a $17.56 reduction. The new cost of the terminals now stood at $25,813,200, representing a reduction of $526,800 over the 30,000 terminals. Sources within the NLA say the 30,000 pieces was 3 times the number of point-of-sale terminals the board had agreed should be procured. This has been confirmed by the board. According to the document available to Joynews, the price of the product appears to have been significantly inflated. In a letter dated October 23, 2018, which was to be sent to the Director General for signing an onward transmission to the PPA, the price of the Nesgo N5 Smart POS terminal was pegged at $207 per device. According to this letter, the cost of the 30,000 Nesgo N5 POS terminals was $6,238,423. The company compared this price to the previous point-of-sale devices procured by the NLA and argued that the price of the Chinese product compares favorably with these, given the proprietary features available for the e-kiosk project and its dual functionality for both lottery operations and the VAS platform. The devices previously bought by the NLA were Ingenito, bought at $365 each, and TPS 300, which is currently being used by the NLA, bought at $440 each. These devices were procured in 2010 and 2015. A table making this price comparison was placed on the letter, obviously to convince the PPA that $207 for the Nesgo terminal was indeed cheaper, so that the request for single sourcing would be granted. However, in the letter, which eventually went to the PPA, this table was completely missing and the price changed from $207 to $878, a significant jump. By this figure, the price had shot up by $19,574,777. Joynews obtained an invoice from Shenzhen Technology in October 2019. The price range given on the invoice was $172 $260 per device, depending on the number of terminals one was buying. The specifications given mirror exactly what was offered by the NLA. According to this invoice, a buyer who is taking less than 1,000 pieces of the N5 terminals would be required to pay $260 per terminal. If the buyer was acquiring more than 10,000 pieces However, a terminal would cost $172 per device. Therefore, since the NLA was buying 30,000 pieces, the authority should have been paying $172 per device and not $860. It should be noted that the $172 is FOB Hong Kong. Techstart Africa quoted $650 or $637 if you consider the 2% reduction in price as their FOB Hong Kong price per device. We reached out to a Nigerian businessman, Tunde Ogungbade, whose company has been using the Nesgo N5 Smart POS terminal in Nigeria and Ghana. He was in China in June 2018 at the material time that the NLA delegation was there. His company buys large numbers of devices from Shenzhen Zingodu Technology Limited, including the Nesgo N5. He said the price of the Nesgo N5 terminal ranges between $180 and $300. The $300, he said, is the price of the top range customized device.
It's really between that $180 to $300 price range, right? So that's really
$180 to $300.
Yeah, but again, I always say this: all things being equal, I don't know what the local cost is, I don't know what the import is, shipping, demurrage. There's all these things that happen when you're doing international, and it's not unique to POS alone. It's just anything you import. So
No.
Assuming that the NLA bought the highest grade, the price is still inflated by more than 100%. According to documents available to Joynews so far, the NLA has taken delivery of 5,000 pieces of the point-of-sale terminals. In December 2018, the NLA authorized the transfer of 20,413,864 Ghana cedis into an escrow account of Techstart Africa for the purchase of 5,000 devices. On March 13, 2019, Techstart Africa wrote to the NLA saying that the first 1,000 of the Nesgo N5 Smart point-of-sale terminal had arrived at the airport and seeking the release of 940,000 cedis for payment of duty. On March 25, the company received 4,082,772 cedis, constituting payment for the 1,000 terminals. It would appear from this figure that a terminal costs the NLA 4,082 cedis, or $849. By our calculation, these 1,000 pieces should have cost the NLA 827,130 Ghana cedis. That is less than 1 million cedis. But the company paid 4,082,772 Ghana cedis for them. Assuming customization increased the price of the terminal by 100% using the invoice we obtained from the Chinese company, Nesgo N5 should cost at most $344 per piece and not $849, more than double the exaggerated amount. It seems obvious that the price of the POS terminals has been inflated by more than $10 million. The selection of Techstart Africa was itself curious because the report of the team that visited China clearly stated that Nesgo has not signed any agency agreement with any person or entity in Ghana. Accordingly, NLA was signed directly with Nesgo. In spite of the statement, Joynews has obtained a letter purporting to emanate from the Chinese, stating that, quote, as discussed during your due diligence visit to our operations, this letter serves to confirm that Techstart Africa has been appointed as a local partner in Ghana. If the appointment of Techstart Africa was discussed as claimed by this letter, why did the report state categorically that Shenzhen had not signed any agency agreement and would sign directly with the NLA? Joynews can confirm that the Office of the Special Prosecutor has been investigating this procurement since last year and has interrogated senior officials of the NLA. Sources within the company say the Director General, Mr. Oseamiao, personally brought the company to provide limited services to the authority, but the scope of the services expanded exponentially. We sought an interview with Mr. Oseamiao. Even though he agreed, when we turned up with our cameras, he postponed the interview and has since not been available.